Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Got the chatter.
Welcome back to the Sports by Schmucks podcast, the Mike Trout edition, episode number 27. So that's we decided because 27 is a multiple of 3. We'll have 3 people on today: myself, Sean, and Josh. So there's some math for you guys. If you like that, I don't know.
Probably not.
It was kind of a stretch to do that, actually.
Yeah, it was pretty stretched.
Did that on the fly. But numbers are going to be a very big part of this podcast because we're going to be talking NBA and NHL draft, NHL and NBA free agency, and all-star voting, all which involve massive amounts of numbers.
Yeah.
So get your calculators out because we're talking money.
And our lack of it.
I love money.
Well, we all love money, but
You just lack the money that these players are making.
yes,
Exactly.
Well, that's easy to say.
All of them.
So, where do you want to start? Do you want to start NHL or do you want to start NBA?
Let's go some NHL.
Okay, NHL. So NHL draft, top 5 kind of went as expected.
Yeah.
With Ekblad going first overall. It was kind of a very disappointing night, in my opinion. Just because everyone was building
numbers.
up. Well, yeah, and everyone was just building up that there's going to be this trade or this trade or this trade or this trade, and then nothing happened the entire time. The biggest thing was James Neal, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal. James Neal was traded to the Nashville Predators, but at the same time,
You're expecting the Spencer deal to happen then.
yeah, and it's just there were so many rumors of everything else that was supposed to happen. It felt like a letdown.
No,
I don't
sure.
know about letdown, but it's a draft. Anything can happen. So.
I think the biggest thing with this draft was just there's those 3 big names that you really were focused on. Obviously in Canada, where you had Ekblad, you had Sam Reinhart and Sam Bennett, and then who was I think it was Bennett that ended up sitting out until the 5th or 6th pick.
He got drafted 4th.
Yeah, that's
Sam Bennett did.
yeah. Calgary.
Leo, the Draisaitl, the German kid, went 3. He jumped him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to go 3.
Well, he was either going to go 3 or 4.
Oh, I know. I thought Bennett.
Yeah.
I thought Bennett would have went to Edmonton, but
They're
they're down the road from each other.
They were thinking that he would jump up and force one of the Sams to go 4. So.
Yeah.
Well, either way, when you think about it, those top 4 could be considered a can't miss in some degree. Like Ekblad's going to be a stud.
Oh yeah. Who do you
Yeah.
think he kind of relates to in the NHL?
Oh.
If you're gonna say it's like equivalent, I guess.
Ah.
I'm gonna say very similar, probably very similar to Seabrook.
That's a good comparison. I was trying to think of somebody, but
Big body, good
Yeah.
shot, very defensive.
I know this comparison might kind of hurt right now. A young Dion Phaneuf.
I hope not.
A young, good Calgary Dion Phaneuf.
Yeah, maybe when he was in his rookie or his second year when he was in Calgary, yeah. I could
Like that
see
through his entire career.
well, no one wishes Dion Phaneuf's career right now on anybody.
That's all. He's making $7 million a year. I think a lot of people would wish for that.
Matt Niskanen is making $7 million a year.
That's another thing I want to talk about with free agency. It's just like I was watching.
Yeah, we will. But just one more thing from the draft. Being as we are, well, you guys are from Southern Ontario, and I was born in Southern Ontario. Your opinion on William Nylander?
Probably the most skilled player in the draft, in my opinion. Actually, in a lot of people's opinion, he's got the NHL shot. He's got NHL speed. He's smart with the puck. The only thing I think that needs to develop with him is I think he needs to grow his body a little bit. He's 5'11", he's only 175. So obviously for an 18-year-old, that's a pretty decent size. But also his work ethic, his drive to play. I think there was a little bit of concern with his attitude, towards putting full effort night in and night out. Do I think he's going to hop into the lineup right away? No. He's going to be a player you're going to see as a Leaf fan 3 to 5 years down the road before he even remotely starts making some form of impact. That's my opinion on him.
And as far as I understand, with the way his contract is up, he's not under contract in Europe right now,
No,
so he
he's not.
can play for the Marlies this season.
He can if I think that if he
I think
plays
he's in
AHL
Sweden.
hockey, yeah.
I think he's in Sweden for another year or two, and then he comes over AHL for another year, and then he'll jump up to.
Yeah.
I think he's a classic boomer bust pick.
Yeah, he's gonna be a boomer bust. 2 years probably with Moto again, or Moto, sorry. And then like Sean said, probably he'll come over. He'll play a year, maybe half a year in the AHL, get called up, have a shot, or do that in the following year, halfway through the year.
As long as they don't treat him like Kadri did, because that was. I'm not the biggest Kadri fan in the world, but you don't screw around with a guy like that.
Then again, who else do we have at center? Or who else do the Leafs have at center?
No.
Oh, didn't you see? The Leafs signed Mike Santorelli.
Right. Sorry, my mistake.
And Petri Contiola, the infamous, I don't know.
I don't know guy.
With the reported.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Well, imagine him with the Toronto media. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. They said that Timmonson, and I was dying. I was like, this poor guy, he's going to get killed.
Yeah.
And he already is. Also, I guess we kind of missed the Kessler pick, or trade.
We'll talk about the rich getting richer with Anaheim. Not only did they get Kessler in that deal, but
They didn't even really give up anything.
They barely give up anything, and with their trade for trading Bobby Ryan to the Senators last year, they get Nick Ritchie with the 10th pick. Like, that guy's gonna be good.
Yeah.
He's big. He's already like NHL size, and he's got skill.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised Toronto didn't take him. To be honest.
I was hoping Toronto would take him. I like Nick Ritchie.
I'm surprised he kind of fell a little bit.
Well, he was projected he was top 10, so he went in the top 10.
I saw Core's top 5 or 6 picks. So
a lot of
that was a bit of a slide, but
no, and I saw after you got past the top 4 in that draft,
you never knew it could go
the 6 through 10 were kind of interchangeable.
Yeah,
5 through 10 were interchangeable. Yeah,
Toronto and most mock drafts and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, one player I think is going to be a bust, to be honest with you, is Hayden Fleury, who I honestly felt Toronto, if he was available, they were going to take him. I was watching the highlights in that draft, and he just looked like he was very sluggish when he was skating. But they say his skating's one of the best things. I was just kind of looking at the highlights, and he went to go hit somebody, and it looked like a Timbit hockey hit.
Shout out to Timbit hockey right there.
Tim Hortons, finish your football field, thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, it's going to be able to receive guests, but not 100% finished.
Yeah.
So, okay, of the top 4 then, let's see, so the 2 Sands, Aaron Ekblad, and Draisaitl, which of those 4 do you think, before we move on to free agency, has the most bust potential? Because it's not fun to always talk about who's going to be the best. Who's going to be the worst? Who could flame out?
Oof. That's hard, because he's Sam Bennett. I know the killer coached him down there, and he reminds me when I've seen all the footage of him, it kind of reminds me of him. So I don't think Bennett, I don't think he'll be the major superstar, but I don't think he's going to be a bad pick. Reinhart, I'm going to go Reinhart, I guess. He has the most potential to be either once again not it's a boomer bust pick, but with less chance of the bust, or still a higher ceiling than the bust, I guess. An average player at best.
I think the benefit for Reinhart is that he has more of a two-way game than the other 3 forwards picked in the top 4.
Yeah,
I don't see him being as high end as what Bennett can be.
So even if he can't contribute as much offensively, he could probably stick around as a third line line scorer for 10 years in the NHL.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has all the potential, but I see even if he kind of busts out, he's still gonna be a decent player. Be a possible second liner, probably third liner.
The one I'm most worried about is Draisaitl.
Draisaitl, sorry,
or however you pronounce his name. No, not mainly because he's getting it, and I don't want to. This is gonna sound, but he's getting his start in Edmonton, and really, of their their last they've had top 5 picks the last 5 years. Yeah. What have any of them done?
Nothing. Look at Yakupov. They wanted to trade him.
Yeah,
they want to trade Yakupov.
I mean, Taylor Hall has been scoring, but somebody's got to score goals on your team
and stop goals.
Anybody in your top top 6 forward in the NHL is probably good for 20 goals. or has the
What-
potential for 20
What I
goals.
find
easily.
hilarious with Edmonton is the best player on their team, in my opinion, Jordan Eberle, they didn't even get in a lottery pick. He was
No.
a 15th pick,
Yeah.
right? And he is the most phenomenal player that's on that team, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
completely agree. I've been an Everly guy for a long time.
Everybody else that's on that team, it's almost like they've hit the NHL and then they crash and they crumble under the pressure of I'm Taylor Hall, who was it, Taylor or Tyler, Nuge. Nuge is a phenomenal center, but injuries,
He can't stay healthy.
out of injuries.
Yeah.
Right?
You need someone around him.
And then you have somebody like Yakupov who they want to move because they need defensemen, things like that. Their best players that are going to be on that team are Eberle, Darnell Nurse.
Yep.
He's from Hamilton, right?
Yep.
He's a Hamilton-born kid, right? He's a really great defender, and he'll probably get his shot this upcoming year. And you know what? I honestly feel Draisaitl's going to be good on that team. I think probably the one that I would say would flame out, to be honest with you, I think is going to be Ekblad.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's a phenomenal player. He's an amazing defenseman. He's very similar to Seabrook, like I said. However, it's proven that in the NHL drafts over the past, however long, I don't even know, it's whatever, you want to talk numbers, however many years, the second defenseman that's usually taken in the draft has typically gone on to have the better career. Ekblad being the number one pick again, playing in a system, playing in Florida that just dumped, $45 million in a matter of 6 hours to sign players that really aren't worth $45 million. I think he's going to have a tougher time in that system. And again, being a number one pick, he's going to go in there into a hockey market that's already low, that's going to think we have this new resurgence, and it's going to put even more pressure on him. It's going to cause him to even, possibly struggle a little bit more. So I think Ekblad is probably going to be the one that's going to have the toughest time.
It is true with a lot of young NHL defensemen. A lot of young defensemen coming into the NHL, they usually struggle early on.
Yeah, but
and
you
some,
can't see it brought up right away, though.
But what I was going to say, and some don't get that confidence back.
Exactly.
Whereas, Shen had that great first year. I loved him to death, and I still do. But he got picked apart in Toronto. He got two, whatever it was. He lost confidence. And then all of a sudden he's being shipped out of town, which looks like a steal now for Toronto.
Yeah.
For James Van Riemsdyk. So I understand the Ekblad thing. It's just I think that he's so mature right now that he'll be able to overcome and make that after that initial setback, he'll be able to get back on the horse.
Well, it's more likely he'll probably leave Buffalo when his contract's up. Rookie contract.
Florida.
Sorry, Florida, my mistake. I thought
That's all
Buffalo was the worst team.
It's all right. Well, I think Buffalo was the worst team. They just lost a lot. Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of lotteries, let's go to the NBA draft because.
Are we gonna skip free agency?
Well, we'll do both free agencies at the same time. Oh no, that's okay. Damn it, that was a perfect segue too. We'll just go. Okay, you know who hit the lottery? Dave Boland. There you go. I'm working segues here. Dave Boland. You know why?
Go
5
on.
years, 5.5 per.
Laughing.
I'm glad. I like Boland. I think he's a fine third line center.
Not at $5.5 million. I don't like him.
Exactly. I'm glad he is not on the Leafs for that contract.
His agent made him good for him. His agent's very good at his job.
I
He does not deserve that money.
I don't blame. I do not fault Boland. He asked for it. He knew his market, and apparently he evaluated himself to what he thought he could get.
And he was right.
Yeah.
I would
good
have
for him.
nowhere close to that, but that's
But-
me.
Yeah, we know why he was able to get that, and it's because the floor that teams need to hit and the cap that they're saying. I know what is the floor for the cap is what, $59 million a year?
58
Yes.
this year.
Yeah, 58,
58?
yeah, whatever it is.
It's 58 or 59. It's one of those two.
Right. So
No, I thought it was 51 and the cap 69.
or maybe that's what
Some,
cap.
it's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cap is over 70 this year.
No, it's only 69.
60,
It's
69.
69. Yeah, 69. That's what. Yeah, I think it's 51 for the floor.
You look at it, no matter what you do, and this is something like GMs are like when you're 5 years old and you get $2 and you want to go and you want to buy 5-cent candy and you go absolutely buck in this variety store and you buy everything, right? You don't save $1 of that for later. You spend the whole toonie on candy when you're 6 years old or 5 or 6 years old. GM's the exact same way, right? They have money, they're going to spend it, and they're going to spend it ridiculously to get what they want. He's got the ties with Dave Talon. He's got, he's going to go there again, thinking in a low market that doesn't really have anybody on the team, and now he's going to have that paycheck. Plus, he's going to feel like he's an important player.
Plus, you got to remember Florida has no state tax as well.
Yeah.
So his contract's actually more.
So that 5.57 or whatever it is.
5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 is actually going to be like 5. In Canada would have been what 5.2, maybe less.
Probably would. I think might have been even under sub 5.
Yeah. Might have been under sub 5.
No,
Yeah.
it would have been sub 5.
Yeah. And now he's pocketing an extra 200, 300 grand a year, no problem. Like, it's a win. It's a win for him, and it's do I blame Toronto for letting him go? No. I don't think spending that much money on a player is well, especially for him. I would have liked to see a full season. He was, bugged by injury.
It was a fluke injury that got him, but if he rushed back, that's for someone, that's not for me to say, that's for a doctor to say, but for that injury, he didn't look like he came back 100% because he was a lot slower than the first part of the season.
Agreed.
He didn't have the same speed with skating and feel like he lost a step. So either he came back early to try and get money, or
which worked
injury.
Apparently.
Pardon?
Which worked.
Which worked, or the injury is actually going to cause him to lose some speed.
All right, I got a question. What's the most egregious contract so far this offseason? I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at Niskanen's 5.75. I'm looking at Orpik 5.5.
I think to me it's Orpik, just
you
because of the age.
Nevada at 5. You got Grabowski at 5. Andrew McDonald at 5. I think it's a little. Anton Strawman 4.5.
What I find hilarious is Strawman used to be a defenseman for the Leafs, and he was like $1.5 million, and they could have resigned him, for something around that, and they never did. He went to New York, and he did well for himself. So,
yeah.
When it comes down to it, you gotta. I think Brett's correct in saying Brooks Orpik.
Yeah.
It's the guy should be making $1.5, $2 million a season.
3 at very most.
Another stupid pickup, Stefan Robidoff, $3 million for $9 million for 3 years.
That's not too bad.
He's coming off a broken leg.
The same leg broken in 2 different spots. The same leg broken in 2 different spots, and he's 37 years old.
He's 30, yeah.
Right? Why, in your right mind, do you want to bring a 37-year-old defenseman to that team with that health risk and pay them that amount of money? You already have.
I can tell you why. The Leafs are rebuilding the 2012 team. They brought back Matt Fradden. They have their old defenseman, like that they brought in.
He's taking Gunnar because of the slot. Whatever.
This year it's Robidoux. 2 years ago it was John Michael Lyles.
Yeah.
And there was a third thing that I remember that I'm just blanking on right now. So, because of technical delays, you missed a fantastic rant by Josh on the 2012 Leafs and how they essentially would have finished the exact same way as they did this past season if the 2012 was not a lockout. So, we're not going to get back into that because now it'll feel rehearsed and it won't feel as spontaneous as fun, and you guys missed out. Yeah. Sorry about that.
I can't repeat that. That was all emotion.
It was all poor emotion. But, so what we can agree on is that Brooks Orpik, at least in my opinion, is probably one of the worst. Is the worst deal.
I agree.
Yes. All right, best deal then.
Best deal?
Yes.
You know what? I like Stastny at $7 million. I mean, that's what you're gonna get. That's what he's gonna get. And going to St. Louis, especially from Colorado to St. Louis, not only hurts your division rival now, but improves your team down the center. That team is gonna be stacked next year too.
Yeah.
Best deal in my opinion, I think picking up Brad Richards at $2 million for Chicago.
Yep, that's a good one.
That's what I was going.
He's going to come in. He's going to be your third line center. For a team like Chicago, third line, $2 million on a guy like Brad Richards. You know what? Maybe he needed a change of scenery. The guy was a premier center in the league when he played with Tampa. He started off okay in New York, but look at New York. You look at guys like Rick Nash. The guy was he was first pick overall, wasn't he, Nash?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And even him himself, he's fizzling out. It's the system that's there in New York. You're playing in New York, you're playing in the spotlight, whatever. I don't know if it has any effect on the players, right? Did it have any effect on Brad Richards? Who knows? He's going to Chicago now. He's going to be put on the third line. If you go in there and you expect that he's going to be a third line player and he's going to be a third line center, you know what? For $2 million, you can't be disappointed. When you go in there expecting he's going to be, some kind of god on the ice, that's when you're going to get disappointed. Don't hope too high, right? If you over, dream about how this guy's going to be in your lineup, then you know what, you're going to be disappointed. But if you think, he might put up 15, 20 goals, he'll have a lot of points. I think the first season he was back with New York, he averaged a point or 2 points a game or something like that. He was averaging a point a game, right?
Yep.
A third line center that's going to average a point a game. That's 82 points.
Or has that potential to do that?
Right? Or he has the potential to do that. For $2 million, no problem.
And it's just such good depth for that team. Because what happens if, say, Taves has to miss some time again?
Yeah.
You can slide Brad Richards up in your depth chart.
And not even try,
minimal
drop in quality.
It's going to be from Taves to Richards is a pretty big drop in quality. But when you can put him between Hossa and Sharp, like where Taves plays, it's not like you're bringing up a minor league. You're bringing an experienced veteran who knows how to win, who's won a cup, who's gone deep in the playoffs, who has been, part of leadership cores on teams. He was part of the leadership core in Tampa, and when he got there in New York for a while, he was part of that leadership core as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was still there. He was the assistant captain.
Yeah. I think my guy has to be Martin Havlat, I guess. $1.5 million for a year to go to New Jersey. Not a bad deal if he can get back his scoring touch.
I just don't think to me, I think it's a good price for him, but just
it's not a fit.
New Jersey's not on my radar.
Yeah, for 1.5, that's not a bad deal for Havlat.
Yeah. One thing before we leave NHL free agency, you mentioned the Dave Talon Bolin connection. And that's part of the reason he was fired in the first place from Chicago. Talon was for signing people to bad contracts and then having to dump everybody. Like he had to dump Buffalo, he had to dump Ladd, he had to dump everybody after that first cup win. So let's move on to the NBA draft, where we saw some Canadian history. Two things if you want to talk about it. If you want to put it this way. Back-to-back first overall picks. First time 2 Canadians have gone in the top 10.
Yeah, that was awesome.
First time 3 Canadians have gone in the first round.
There we go. Another piece of Canadian history there in the NBA draft. So, first thing, if Embiid is healthy, are we talking about back-to-back Canadian number 1 picks?
No.
Yeah. No.
Yes, I'm glad you eventually said no, Sean, because that is the correct answer.
I was thinking because Cleveland was apparently very high on Wiggins.
They had
Embiid, they need Embiid more, so
they had Embiid number 1 on their board before the injury, and then that kind of screwed them over.
I didn't really screw him over. He still got probably one.
Well, it screwed them over from their original plans. You're screwed over the wrong choice of words. So we'll stick with the Canadian content first. Are you good with Stauskas being in Sacramento? Do you think that's a good fit for him? Because we saw Sacramento a couple years ago. I don't want to bring race into it, but draft the white guy that could shoot in Jimmer Fredette, and he just kind of flamed out.
To be honest with you, I feel Stauskas' pick is a lot better than Jimmer Fredette. Jimmer Fredette's very, very small in comparison to Stauskas.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Stauskas is 100% way more of a pure shooter than Fredette.
Yeah, and he actually played a little bit of defense.
Stauskas is a better overall player than Fredette at this point in their careers, and probably even Fredette now to Stauskas now. Stauskas we saw Fredette carry his team, but he carried his team with 3-point shooting at BYU. Yeah. Stauskas was able to carry his team with passing, able to get into the lane, dish out, make the right play, and when he got in the lane, he could take contact and make layups.
He's not afraid to drive to the net. He
No.
can shoot and drive. I'm gonna stick around the perimeter. Throw me the ball. I'll shoot it. If I'm open, I'll nail a three. If not, it's probably gonna get blocked, or I'm gonna get hacked, or I'm gonna lose the ball. That's so.
I think it's a good fit for Stauskas there, especially with guys like Rudy Gay, who hilariously bad for the Kings, opted into his ridiculous $18 million deal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that just crippled that team.
yeah. So with players like him and DeMarcus Cousins, who dominates the post and can pass out of it, to have a guy like Stauskas who can create his own shot on the perimeter and spot up and shoot, that's going to be a dangerous option for them.
Yeah.
You're gonna look at that backcourt: Isaiah Thomas. And,
If they re-sign him, he's a free
if they
agent.
re-sign him, yeah. But they should.
I
should,
think they
yeah.
will.
They should. Isaiah Thomas is probably one of the best players that was out of that draft year for himself, and being the last pick, like the last possible pick in that draft, Isaiah Thomas goes, and he's actually going to have probably one of the better careers. I think he's a phenomenal player.
Oh yeah, I do too. I like Isaiah Thomas.
Especially for
Except when he was holding my career player back in NBA 2K14.
Yep.
Don't be greedy, Brett.
Hey, I wanted that starting spot, okay?
All apparently you played well enough to get it.
Well, I did. Well, I think
Did you? Then you would have been playing.
2K14 is too scripted because I've seen a lot of stuff where the person in front of you in the depth chart gets hurt and tears their knee and is done for the season, and that's how you get the starting job. I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
In 2K.
Yeah.
So I think that's too scripted.
Hey, at least you stayed with Sacramento. I'm the jerk that when he gets the opportunity to request a trade, I request a trade to Toronto, and then I get dealt.
Oh, I'm going to request a trade in the offseason. This team's terrible.
Oh, I do it right away.
And the third Canadian pick was, at 18, I believe it was Tyler Ennis going to
Phoenix.
Phoenix, it was. Okay. Originally, I was so focused on the Raptors that when I first heard that Ennis went to Phoenix, like, why? They got 2 point guards. And then as you hear that, they're both need new contracts, and my mind's like Dragic and Eric Bledsoe, it kind of makes sense that it gives them security with depth for that team. And I think Ennis will be a good fit there if he actually gets on the court. Which could be tough if they sign both those guys.
Yeah, although then he'll be the best 6'5" point guard in the league then. Oh, should be.
Well, he wouldn't be a 6-man if there was somebody ahead of him.
Yeah, he'd be like 11th or 12th.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. What do I know about things?
You don't.
Sean, quick little info spot for you. The 6th man is usually the first person that would come off the bench and replace your guy. So typically it's your backup point guard.
Yeah, it's not like football where you're rolling 3 middle linebackers.
Yeah.
No, I know that. Wouldn't Ennis coming off the bench would be like a 6-man, wouldn't he?
No.
If he was solid.
If he was the first person on the depth chart to be off the bench and he was playing the 6th highest amount of minutes, then yes.
Well, he could be. He is a backup point guard.
No, because if they bring back Bledsoe and they bring back Dragic, that's 2 point guards right there.
Oh, I don't think they'll resign both of them.
I think they will. They had a lot of success
so?
with those guys last time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I doubt they. I just thought maybe they wouldn't just because you draft Ennis. Why would you bring both of them back?
Well, because then I guess you could play them both. Like, okay, maybe I overreacted with his 11th or 12th minutes, but you could probably play one of them off ball and have Ennis come in and spell one of the other ones. So he may be like a 8th or 9th in the rotation.
Yeah.
It's probably where he'd fall.
All right.
But it was just so close to Toronto that you just you were willing it to happen as Raptor fans up here in the Great White North.
Yeah. I was watching. I was like, "Oh my God, are we gonna get him? Are we getting him?" Then when they picked him, I was like, "You sons of bitches."
So who else spent the next day researching Bruno Caboclo? Is it? I've heard Caboclo a lot. Is it Caboclo?
Caboclo.
Let's call him Bruno.
Tomato. Okay.
Yeah.
He's Bruno. I did.
Yeah, I know I did. That's what I did the next day at work.
Yeah, I looked at him.
And it goes quiet.
Well,
you're comparing two different leagues. You're comparing a Brazilian league to Division I basketball.
Yeah.
Right? So they say, quote unquote, he's the Brazilian Kevin Durant. Right? That is so much,
Pressure?
Well, yeah, pressure. But
Expectations.
it's so much expectation to be filled. To say I'm the Brazilian Kevin Durant, like,
Well, in all fairness, he looks like the Brazilian Kevin Durant.
he does. He does.
It's the same body build, like ridiculous. Like what is it, 7'7" wingspan?
Yeah.
He's 6'9", 200 pounds. Yeah, 7'7" wingspan.
Like Jay Billis must have had an orgasm when he heard about wingspan.
It's
that's what
massive as well.
That's what he loves. He's obsessed with the wingspan. Anyways, sorry, continue. I interrupted.
What was he? He averaged 8 points, shooting 7-14 from the field, which is ridiculous. You know, and this is the crazy thing. He shot 667 from 3-point range.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. What is he?
He's a fucking shooting or
He's
small
a scorer.
forward.
Well, look at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant hits threes.
Yep.
667.
Yeah, but keep in mind the international
I know.
three-point line is a bit closer.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say with that number. Is that kind of comes with a grain of salt, but it still shows he can shoot outside.
Yeah. So he's pretty much the Brazilian Andrea Bargnani.
Oh,
I went there.
Don't.
I don't care. I went there.
Well, at least you didn't compare him to Hoffa.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible.
Remember the last time the Raptors took a Brazilian in the first round? It did not end well.
No.
So let's go into the rest of the NBA draft then. Jabari Parker too makes sense going to Milwaukee. He's probably the most ready of the three right now, or the top of the big three I guess, of the draft right now.
He'll probably have the best career in total.
Really? Okay.
I think he'll probably be the least successful. Well, successful, but not as successful as Wiggins and Embiid, in my opinion.
I am legitimately concerned about Embiid.
You think he's gonna?
Well, it's just those two injuries are historically bad for big men.
Yeah.
The foot injury, The foot injury, it killed Bill Walton.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason MJ recovered from it is because he's
MJ.
6'6", 210 or whatever he was. He's not 7 foot 250. He's not carrying around that frame.
You saw what the 76ers essentially picked up in this draft, correct?
Yes.
You saw Joel Embiid.
Yep.
Alfred Payton.
Who they flipped Payton.
Yeah, they flipped Payton to Orlando because they have
Carter Williams.
Yeah, Carter Williams. But they flipped Payton to Orlando, and they got Dario Saric. Yep. So now you have
and Sarge is stashed for I think 3 years international.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years in international. So, I mean, look at what that team's going to have in the near future. You hope
they'll have another top 3 pick next year.
Oh yeah, they'll have another top 3 pick next year, right? But I like Doug McDermott going to Chicago.
I wish he got drafted by the Raptors.
He got traded. No, yeah, he don't because they traded him to Chicago. That's what.
Yes, traded him to Chicago.
Yeah. Denver drafted him 11th and then traded him to Chicago. Probably. I don't know. Dante Exum going 5th to the Utah Jazz.
I didn't think that was gonna happen.
I thought he was going to go to Orlando, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The only thing I see with Orlando is I believe Jameer Nelson. He's still there.
He got waived.
Did he get waived?
He did get waived. Yes.
So yeah, they're obviously going to have to pick something up there. Marcus Smart, who I think is an absolutely phenomenal point guard. Well, he probably would have went first overall last year.
Yeah.
But he elected to stay and play in Oklahoma State one more year.
Actually, I don't know. Just because it was Cleveland and because they already had waiters.
He would have been top 3 pick.
He would have been top 3.
Top 3.
Probably second pick.
Julius.
That's the pick I'm very happy with. Is Lakers.
Julius Randle going on the Lakers.
To replace
Pau Gasol.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stauskas, awesome pick at 8. Noah Vonleh, I thought was going to go higher.
I think he'll be fine in Charlotte though.
Yeah.
He'll be able to stretch the floor a little bit. He had college. I think he was somewhat successful from the college 3-point range if I remember correctly. Yeah. So he'll be able to stretch the floor a little bit and maybe open up some space for Jefferson underneath. I was actually hoping Stauskas would go to Charlotte. I think that would be an even better fit because you have your on-ball defender Michael Carter. These three named people. Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Yeah. Walker can't really shoot that well from outside. Like he has some decent mid-range game, but not like outside shooting. So he can get in the paint, kick it out. Stauskas is there. It opens up floor space for Jefferson too. So I think that would have been a really nice pickup. But I do really like him in Sacramento too. Anyways, that was my rant.
I'm actually a big fan of the Orlando draft, getting both Gordon and Payton. That's a pretty solid combo right there.
Mm-hmm. And now you have that point guard. You have the point guard in. I think what is Payton was like what 6'6"? He's another big point guard.
6'4", but still
6'4".
6'4", still pretty decent size for a point guard.
Yeah, and that's the thing you wanted because Oladipo is a bit undersized for a shooting guard comparatively to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Maybe they could, that's why a lot of people thought they were going to go with Exum because he's big enough to guard a lot of shooting guards. Exum was. So Oladipo could guard the opposing team's point guard, where Exum would be able to guard the shooting guard, and they just flip on offense.
Exum's in Utah though.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying that's why a lot of people thought Exum was going to go to Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he's a good, but then again, it's the exact same thing that can happen in Orlando now, in Utah now, because Burke is pretty small. Trey Burke's pretty small, so you can do the same thing. You can play them both together. You have two phenomenal ball handlers, and Trey Burke can shoot. So it's nice to have that flexibility where you can have two ball handlers. Burke can shoot, and then Exum can guard the bigger guy on defense. I think it's a great pick for Utah for Exum.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna come over? Like, what do you think his potential's like?
I think he could go right away. I think he could come over right away. I mean, what else are you going to do in Utah? I mean, you might as well bring him over, see what you got.
Do you think? I know we're going to skip a couple picks. Do you think Cabolo goes down to the D League?
I think they might stash him overseas.
You think so?
I don't know. I honestly.
I think they bought his contract out.
Did they? Because I'm not 100% sure what they're going to do with him. I think it's going to depend on what he does in Summer League.
Well, I think they had to buy his contract out, so he could come to the Summer League.
Well, I think it's going to depend what he does. Honestly, what he does in the Summer League. Because if he has a decent enough Summer League, then they could see him sending him down into the D League. But there's no point keeping him on the roster because he's not going to get any minutes.
No, because he's power. He's not going to take over for DeMar. I doubt he's going to take Amir's spot. So
no, and when DeMar's going to play like 40, he's going to play 40 plus minutes a game.
Yeah, but DeMar's a shooting guard anyways.
But they've been playing him at small forward.
Yeah, he's playing at small forward.
They've been playing at small forward, yeah. But if they move him to his proper position, I don't know. I won't be surprised.
Well, Terrence Ross plays guard now, the shooting guard position. And Ross is too small to be small forward.
Yeah. No,
and Ross, that's what killed them against the Nets is they didn't have the big enough guy to guard Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
And Ross wasn't playing well enough where you could keep him on the floor, realistically. Let's get into NBA free agency now, since we're talking about the Raptors, and that's probably the biggest news out of free agency so far, since there's so many rumors and speculation, and nobody's really decided anything. At least we know Kyle Lowry re-signed with the Raptors, 4 years, $48 million. Was that your attempt at a Ric Flair woo?
Yes.
Sean? Okay.
A sick attempt at it, yes.
So is it back right after the playoffs when we were questioning this? I said, I didn't want to give Lowry $12 million. But after reevaluating my position, that was going to be market value for him.
I told you.
And I didn't anticipate that, to be perfectly honest, back then.
I called that. I knew that was going to happen.
I'll give you credit for that. I underestimated his value on the open market.
Well, it's a weak market this year.
There's always a weak market in NBA free agency. Because everything's sign and trade.
Yeah.
So I am happy he's back. He's a great fit. He's statistically a top 8 point guard in the league. He's in top 8 in in I think every major category for points, rebounds, steals, and assists. Points, rebounds, among point guards. He's top 8 in each category. So, I mean, you got to pay for talent. So,
I think they got fair market value. There's not anyone that can really replace him. Unless they got Ennis. If they got Ennis, I think they'd let him go and maybe re-sign Vasquez. But I think that what the Raptors got, they got like good value out of it.
And it helps to actually keep some team chemistry for a bit, because apparently him and DeRozan are best buds now. So
yeah, I just hope they re-sign Vasquez. As I said, like Vasquez loved Toronto. Like him when he got on the floor for Lowry, they just pushed an up-tempo pace, and it really worked. He's a great teammate, good addition to the ball. Toronto has shooters, so.
And that was the thing with Vasquez. There wasn't that huge drop off if you had to, like in the playoffs you saw it a bit more just because of you didn't have a shooting guard really to play because Ross was playing so poorly. But during the regular season when Ross was playing well, there wasn't as much drop off. You could take Lowry out, and Vasquez was able to manage the game a lot better.
Oh
yeah. I don't know about you guys. There's a ton of players that are on free agency right now in the NBA.
There is, but none of them are going to move though.
All right, more technical difficulties. Gotta love Skype. Sean, what was your question again about LeBron James? Say it with the same fire that you had before.
Do you think he'll leave Miami?
You are terrible.
I know.
I honestly think he could, if he actually wants the max deal, because Bosch and Wade aren't going to take that much of a pay cut. That's just me. Like if they want to keep him, they're going to have to surround him with talent, and they're not going to have any cap room if he wants a max deal and Wade and Bosch still want at least a decent fraction of what they're going to be or what they feel they're worth.
There's no way they take that big of a cut. Not a chance.
What they were saying as well is they were saying that Bosch and Wade actually both came out and said we had no idea what LeBron was doing until after he said, "I'm exercising my wave." Until LeBron said, "I'm exercising my termination." Bosch and Wade had no idea that he was doing that.
Yeah.
And then he met with them after. So there's all the controversy with what, Miss or Queen James, whatever you want to call her, Mrs. James, whatever the hell her name is, what she's doing where she's posting pictures of Akron, Ohio, and she's saying, coming home. She's posting pictures of something in South Beach. She's saying, can't wait to head back here to do whatever. She's causing all this, drama in his free agency, and that's where the rumors are coming from. Do I think he's going to stay in Miami? Probably not. I honestly feel like he wants to go. I think he wants to be more in the spotlight than what Miami has to offer.
Is that impossible?
Do I think it's possible? 100%.
Which team could he go to?
There's 3 teams in the league. Actually, there's 4 teams in the league that have the media coverage. That no matter where he goes, he's going to have media coverage, right? But you look at it right now, and he might look at it and he might say, okay, you know what? If I go back to Cleveland, right? Everybody's going to be like the hometown hero's back, blah blah blah. He's going to play this good guy now again, right? Where the past little while he's played the villain of the NBA, right? He left his hometown to go to South Beach.
So that's
right?
one. So I mean, doing New York and LA, the other two.
Yeah, New York, because he'll play at MSG. He'll be there. LA, obviously it's Los Angeles.
New York doesn't have enough talent there to make him go there.
I know, but you got to look at it and say, okay, no matter where LeBron James goes, people are going to say, oh, do I take $12 million for myself, or do I take, a $4 million pay cut, still make $8 million and live in my, $3 million house, and get to play basketball with LeBron James and possibly win a championship in New York at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, but you got to think about this as well. He wants max, so it's going to be a sign and trade. What New York or LA have to send max?
It's not necessarily going to be a signing trade.
Yeah, he wants max. It has to be a signing trade.
No, he can still take max. It's just not going to be one. It's not going to. He's going to lose that extra year. That's all it is.
7 years instead of 8 years. That's the only difference.
Yeah. I think he wants absolute max.
Well, then he's not going to get it from Miami. They're not going to sign and trade him.
Well, that's what's going to happen.
No.
I don't think
he signs
back.
max deal with Miami, he stays in Miami.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that.
I think if he says max, it's a sign and trade.
Nope.
But the problem is there's no one that can take him. New York has nothing. He wants someone to go somewhere that's a pre-built, already ready to go team. New York's not that. LA is too much against the cap. They would blow that. They'd have to blow that team up. And
I
you
don't
don't,
think-
and I don't think
even if he
Kobe and LeBron get along, so that's like
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Even if he went to, I don't think he's going to LA just for the Kobe factor. No, sorry, Lakers. If it's gonna be a sign and trade with an LA team, it's gonna be the Clippers.
Yeah. And you got to send probably Blake Griffin back.
I don't think they will.
Exactly. So
That's what I mean. If he signs Max, because there's no such thing as sign and trade in this scenario whatsoever.
I feel like if he leaves, it's gonna have to be a sign and trade, but there's no one that can take him. So I think he does.
If he leaves, he's taking the 7 years.
I think he wants all 8 years at max.
Nope, he won't. It won't happen because the second Miami has him, he's what's he gonna do? He's gonna request a trade, and then they're gonna say, okay, well you can either play basketball, and we're not gonna trade you. Like it's
just
no
the way
end.
the way signing trades work is just so organic with teams. Like, okay, we know we're gonna. I don't know if Miami would be willing to do him the favor of giving him the max deal and trading him.
That's what I mean.
Depends on what they get back.
Well, they get anything back because they get more back than what they would get without him doing a sign and trade.
That's true.
The only reason why I see them not doing the sign and trade is because if they don't, say for instance they just don't sign him, right? And you have all this cap space to sign whoever else, okay? You know, you can sign LeBron James for $20 million a season, or you can sign 2 or 3 guys that are worth $8 or $9 million each, right? For a team that's got no players on their team, to be honest with you, signing 2 or 3 guys that might be anywhere from the $4 to $10 million range, right? As opposed to having the one guy, that's what's going to be more important to Miami. Because they have nobody. I think
that's true.
Their cap right now is $13 million. That's how much they have on the books.
The only person they have, well, other than no, because they opted out. The only person they have on their roster right now is Shabazz Napier.
Yeah.
And I don't think
laugh,
he can go.
but it's true.
I don't think he can go 1-on-5.
No. He's gone. Wade's gone. Haslam's gone. Michael Beasley's an unrestricted free agent. LeBron's gone. Bosch is gone. Battier retired. Ray Allen is retiring.
He said he's going to go wherever LeBron goes.
Figures because he wants to sign for another championship. But that's 8 guys that aren't on a roster right now that were out of 12 guys that sit on the bench. What 4 players do you have on your team?
They have a guy that they're like
Mario Chalmers is gone. That's 9 guys out of the 12 guys.
And Norris Cole is probably going to be traded.
Yeah.
Well, I think they take him for like a bag of plastic at this point.
Right now, their roster consists of Norris Cole, Shabazz Napier, and somebody else that I don't
Doesn't
even
matter.
know.
I think his name's Justin Williams.
Little Chris Anderson.
He's gone.
He left. He opted out as well.
Jesus.
They literally have no one. Miami next year could either be
Really?
it's going to be a patchwork team around LeBron, or they're going to be the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Especially because it's taking so long for people to make decisions, or LeBron to make this decision.
If all the small guys start going, this team's going to be... It's gonna be
exactly. Other names could already be signed.
Like, I don't think Bosch comes back. Like, I can Wade coming back because that's his team. It's been his team. But why does Bosch have to stay if he can get more?
My thing is, if Wade was going to come back, he shouldn't have opted out because he cut a lot of money off the table, and he's going to get nowhere near that amount
I thought that was
when he resigns.
I thought that was really weird. Is that they're going to resign him? What, he had like 3 years left in his contract?
No. Wade had 2 years left, and he was slated to make over $40 million in that 2 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. Why would you
opting out of that contract? Sean, I think I talked to this about at work. Opting out of that contract, Dwayne Wade is not going to get more than $8 million a season.
No.
He pissed away $24 million or $22 million, $24 million bucks.
Yeah. Yep.
In 2 years, $24 million pissed away. And
that's just because he wants to bring LeBron back. I mean, that's why when they talk, I have to feel that there's something that they know that we don't, that LeBron is coming back to Miami, or else they're really, after they talk, because there was that day that LeBron opted out, then 2 days later Wade opted out, then the day after Bosch did. So it must have been something saying like, guys, if you want me to come back, you have to opt out so we can get help, because I'm getting max no matter what.
Problem is, who do they get the help from at this point?
Well, anybody, because if you can bring back LeBron, you can bring back Wade, to a lesser extent Wade, but to more extent Bosh, LeBron, and Napier are still pretty good. It's not the best, but you can build around it.
Yeah. No, but what I mean is, like, who else do you bring in to kind of help push the team forward?
Anybody, because you don't have any choice. You just have to bring anybody in.
Yeah.
Like you lost so much. Like Odin didn't work, Beasley didn't work. Their experiments from last season didn't work to keep this team fresh.
And they still made it to the finals.
And they still because the East sucks. The East is brutal. Phoenix probably would have won the East. and they barely missed the playoffs in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Like Phoenix probably wins the East. I'm not even.
I don't go that far.
They would make it to the conference finals for sure.
Maybe top 4 team.
They would make the conference finals hands down, especially with the way Indiana played at the end of the year.
Yeah, true.
So it's just because it's so unbalanced in the East. I don't think LeBron goes. That's another reason I don't think LeBron goes west.
There's no point.
There's no point.
He cruises into like the third round at minimum.
You're going to tell me he's going to opt out so we can go struggle through a series against the Clippers, Golden State, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Dallas. I'm probably missing
Dirk
teams.
a free agent?
No,
I believe
he's back
Dirk
in.
actually just resigned with Dallas.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I saw the on the website line. He's unrestricted apparently.
He's back. He's with Dallas.
Okay. So where do you think Melo goes then?
I still think it's Chicago.
You think so?
Yeah.
That makes the most
I think
sense.
it's the best fit for him.
Makes
And
sense.
everyone's talking about him.
Worth it.
Everyone's talking about him going to Houston, but really, like, there's not enough basketballs to pass around those guys. Like Melo is going to be is going to hold on to the ball and take the last shot.
Yeah.
And if you factor that into Houston, where you already have James Harden, you already have Dwight Howard, you already have Chandler Parsons, Parsons not to as much of an extent, but Harden needs the ball in his hands. Howard likes to, I guess maybe have the ball in the post. He's working on his post moves a bit, but he demands touches. Melo's going to want as much touch as possible.
Yeah,
And
it won't work.
It's not going to work there. It works in Chicago because nobody
Rose
plays. There's
eventually
nobody.
comes
There's no offensive threat in Chicago right now.
Doug
with
McDermott.
Rose not a guarantee to play.
Doug McDermott.
Yeah, but then what's the point of having him? Melo's going to take those shots from the outside.
I know.
Exactly. It eases the pressure on. And Rose can come back. Exactly. He can be eased back into play.
Then you at least like if Carmelo ever comes off, you have McDermott coming in as a shooter. So
Stop with your Doug McDermott.
No, I'm
He's
just
not going to be a
saying-
huge factor for the Bulls.
I'm just saying if Melo comes out, you at least don't lose a shooter on the floor. You just have someone at small forward who's gonna be a shooter at all times.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Goddamn a-hole. Let me finish my point.
No, I'm sick of your McDermott loving. I'm sick of it. Calm down with Doug McDermott.
I am. Jesus.
Okay. And
Do you think Chicago though?
I think Chicago.
I think Chicago as well. Either that or New York.
Unless actually there's been rumors that he and Powell are talking about them joining forces back in New York. Which with Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher now as the coach doing a triangle offense, I think that could work.
Who?
What?
Who?
Pau Gasol?
Oh, Pau Gasol. Yeah.
He's apparently he and Melo have been talking about going to New York.
I think that'd be good. I think
So
that'd be
Powell
good
gets
for
reunited
this
with
show.
Fish and with Phil Jackson. So that could make sense.
Wait, I got one question. Why
Okay.
is Gordon Hayward getting a max contract from Cleveland?
Because he can.
That's crazy to me. Why would they give him a max contract?
Because it's Cleveland.
Oh,
Really, like I don't really have any logical explanation for it.
Oh,
Like,
but
he's
you
an
didn't
all
hear
right
it?
player.
The Jazz are planning to match that offer.
Yes,
what?
Yeah. Well, he's an RFA.
he's an RFA.
I know. So why is Gordon Hayward getting this much money? It's just mind-boggling to me. I don't know. The whole world's just gone crazy. I'm
No, it's the
hoping.
NBA. This always happens.
I just hope that Vince Carter comes back to Toronto. That's it. That's all I
I
want.
think
I
I
was-
think he's going to stay in Dallas.
Oh, he will, but I hope he does come back.
I was going to ask you, do you think the photo that Lowry posted, because he's wearing a 15 jersey,
Yeah.
and those are the jerseys that they're wearing for select home games next year.
Yes.
Do you feel that hinted anything towards Vince Carter coming back to Toronto? Because he specifically says it is not an Amir Johnson jersey.
Yeah, it's clearly a Vince Carter jersey. You see the champion logo down in the bottom. The
Yeah.
champion was the sponsor when Vince Carter was there.
That's going retro right there, Brett.
I know. I can clue in on that type of stuff. I don't think it's a signal that he's coming back, but I think it's a
Hint that
throwback to the past. Like hey, we appreciate you, Vince. We're kind of over the trade now.
Yeah.
We're not over it, but we can respect that you're probably the best player that Toronto basketball has ever seen.
Oh, easily. I'm hoping that Ed Davis comes back.
I did not like remember I didn't like the Rudy Gray trade that much. I'm just saying. I wrote that piece and I don't know if Rudy Gay's the answer they need. I'm just saying. That was 2 years ago and I wrote it.
Well, apparently he was because he got pretty much Toronto's entire starting bench.
Oh, it worked out for acquiring assets, yes, but he wasn't the right fit.
No.
We've talked enough about everything. We should start to wrap this up. But before we go into our own individual high fives and face palms, I think we can all agree we need to give a big high five to what's going down at the All England Club, Wimbledon. 2 Canadians in the semifinal with Eugenie Bouchard early for me this morning, making it into the Wimbledon ladies final. I should say ladies final because it's not women, it's ladies. So yeah.
Yep.
A round of applause.
Yeah. That's just me, Brett. What do you got, Josh?
He's not even paying attention.
He probably went for a nap or something.
Yeah. We were just too busy talking about other stuff. But yeah, good job for those guys for Eugenie and Milos representing Canada tennis, and just being all around great for tennis in Canada.
I agree.
There's not much you could say about that. Like there's gonna be a lot of kids who pick up tennis rackets now that say I want to be like Milos or I want to be like Eugenie. And think that, hey, we could actually have a chance at this. Because they had no real Canadian, unless you want to play doubles tennis, they had no real Canadian role model.
That's true. Yeah, I think most Canadian sports nowadays, you look at basketball, it's just elevated to that next level.
If only we had a decent men's soccer team. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the women's soccer team, because they are fantastic. But,
that's hard to go in men's World Cup soccer.
Yes, it's hard for me to watch men's World Cup soccer. I know our program is so poor.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting better.
So they asked this question on Tip and Sid today, and I'm going to ask it to you guys as well. How many championships, how many Wimbledon titles does Canada leave with after this weekend? 0, 1, or 2?
1.
1.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1.
Now the question is, who is it?
If it's anybody, it's going to be Genie. Because as much as I don't think if Raonic beats Federer, it's the biggest win in Canadian tennis history.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but
until Eugenie wins Wimbledon or Milos wins Wimbledon, after that, it would be the biggest win in Canadian tennis history.
Yeah.
Because not only does it get you to a Masters.
Masters final?
Sorry, I said Masters. I meant a major because they're showing Mike Weir right now on TV, winning the Masters. As much as it would be nice to, it gets you to a major, like Eugenie did, but you beat one of the best players in the history of tennis.
Yeah.
If not the.
I say the.
Or he's the most decorated, at least you can say that now. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be 1, and it's probably going to be Eugenie. So we can all give high fives for that. And so right now, let's move on to your individual high fives and face palms. Who wants to lead it off?
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay,
sure.
Sean, you're nominated.
Yeah, just got thrown in there. So my face palm for the week is going August last week or so. It's going to Chael Sonnen, UFC, getting caught for steroids and then promptly retiring. For being
At least he retired.
Yeah. For being such a blowhard about not doing steroids and being clean and all that sort of stuff to get caught and then just disappear out of the spotlight. Way to go, Chael. You're kind of a douchebag. And then my high five for the week goes to Manu Ginobili for playing probably the finals with the stress fracture in his leg. You dunked on Chris Bosh with a stress fracture in your leg. That's awesome. that's my high five for the week.
Also, adding to that, Patty Mills.
Yeah.
Shoulder surgery after shooting like that in the finals? That's pretty spectacular, too.
I was going to mention that, but I figured Manu dunking on Bosch with a stretch fracture in his leg, that probably wins.
Oh, yeah, it probably does, but I'm just saying that's impressive, too.
Yeah.
Josh, you're up.
Yeah, high five for the week. It's not really for the week, but we'll say the high five for this past little bit. FIFA's quick response in banning Luis Suarez 4 months from their play, as well as 9 international games, only 2 days after the incident. For, did you just say nom nom?
Nom 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 nom.
Nom nom.
He had the Chiellini tortellini. I can say that I'm Italian.
And just end the podcast there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
That sucks extra hard for you then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's alright. Don't worry about it. Whatever, man. I was upset. I shaved my head. I was all depressed.
That's great.
I was like,
you went to the extreme right there.
Oh God, this is awful.
Yeah, pretty much how it went. But yeah, no.
Crying in a shower, shaving your head.
4 months, 9 international games, 2 days after. That's my high five. Facepalm, I'm going to go with the lovely general manager of the New York Islanders, Garth Snow, who feels necessary to spend $5 million on Mikhail Grabowski and a foreign change on Nikolai Kulemin, who both signed 4-year deal. Oh, sorry, 5-year? 4-year.
I think it was 4-year deals.
Both signed 4-year deals with the Islanders. I understand because the Islanders need to hit their floor for the cap. But out of all players available, in all honesty, it's absolutely ridiculous with that. That's the facepalm for the week. Garth Snow, the man who makes stupid trades, dumb draft picks, and obviously stupid signings.
Hey, he swore on live TV. Give that man some credit.
All right, fine, fair enough.
Okay, I'll start off with my high five, and being that we were talking about the NHL draft, that wrapped up TSN's coverage as the national hockey contract. They did so much to change the way hockey is broadcasted in Canada, and probably with an impact of the NHL network in the States, and how they broadcast and call hockey on TV. So they did a fantastic job over the course of the contract. It's going to be very interesting to see what Rogers does with their new ridiculously high television contract money, what they're going to do with that. It's going to be interesting to see, but they're going to have to step their game up if it's going to match anywhere what TSN was doing over the last 8 years. I actually have two face palms to add it on there. I just thought of one as we were talking. First one is going to the Houston Astros. The leak that they have an online database for their organization called Mission Control, where they track and register all of their trade talks or discussions with other teams about potential trades. And 10 months of those conversations were leaked. And it shows conversations with other GMs. It showed conversations about Bud Norris, conversations with Alex Anthopoulos, the Phillies, the Marlins. Apparently they turned down a deal for Giancarlo Stanton, which is obviously ridiculous. That's part of it. Apparently that's in there.
First of all, why would Miami want to trade him?
I think it involved Springer.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
The Wonderkins.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Because the Marlins have so much control, would have so much control over Springer as opposed to
not that much
Stanton.
control. Yeah, okay, makes sense.
I'm pretty sure that was the reasoning behind why the Marlins were going to do that. So just 10 months of that getting leaked and just seeing the internal strategy. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, I understand how it happened. Someone hacked into it and leaked it, but how do you let that happen? It's ridiculous. That's why you don't keep records. Screwed Richard Nixon too. My second facepalm, it came out today, is Claude Giroux.
Oh my God.
He was arrested in a bar in Ottawa for allegedly repeatedly grabbing the buttocks, the hindquarters.
Come on, you're gonna say buttocks.
I'm saying all.
Grab the cop's ass.
I'm saying all the different things that were said in the media. buttocks, bum, hindquarters, behind.
Hindquarters. Who said hindquarters?
I'm just saying I've heard and seen all of these. For grabbing a cop's ass repeatedly over the course of the night. He was arrested.
It was Canada Day. Claude wanted some Canadian bacon.
Want a Canadian booty.
And he just grabbed it.
And he was still able to mac on chicks on the way into the police station. So I don't know if it's a high five or a face bomb. It's kind of like a...
I give him a little bit of both.
It could be a bit of... I'm going to say it was like... I'm just going to give him an ass slap appropriately enough. Ass slap it is. We didn't even get to talk to MLB, the MLB All-Star Game like we wanted to, which sucks because we had some conversation planned about that. We just ran out of time here because we don't want to keep you guys here for 2 hours. Well, that wraps up the podcast today. Thank you guys for listening. Josh, you are at SpadsDJ.
Yeah.
That's it? Yeah? Okay. And if you want to follow him for conversations about sports, and if you're in the Hamilton area, any shows he DJs. So that's good if you want to get on the Hamilton party scene. I'm not even being sarcastic. That's a compliment. Well, Sean, you giggled, so.
Well, it's just funny. You're like pimping him out there. I love it.
Well, hey, if he's gonna spend the time talking sports with us, I might as well at least pimp him out and explain what he's doing. I do the same thing with you at Sean_McD2. Every time you plan on writing an article.
That's true.
Why can't I say what he's doing outside of it if that is good for him?
That's true. More publicity.
So, Sean, what do you have in the works? You're probably going to have some NFL division previews coming soon?
Yes, I was going to start writing them. I realized when Kiko Alonso got hurt, I should probably get a little bit longer. Sorry, kind of rubbing it in.
Oh. I told you something like that was going to happen.
I knew something like that was going to happen. It's the Bills.
Why did it have to be Kiko?
I know.
And I am at SmithBR10. Follow me there. Follow the blog on at Sport by Schmucks. We're entering the playoffs of my Dallas Stars be a GM for the first time in the 3 years we've done it. Or the 3 seasons, I should say. So, good stuff is going on there. Actually, that's a spoiler because the video of us making the playoffs will come out after this podcast. So, that was stupid by my hand. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Bye.